Hey guys, this is video number one. We'll see, hopefully these videos get a little bit better as they go along. We're going to focus on foot and ankle today, and I apologize, I'm going to be looking it down periodically to keep myself on task. I'm sure most of you know that could be a problem for me. But anyways, we are going to do these videos so that we have them broken up into three parts. The first part is going to be soft tissue care, joint mobility, maybe some stretching. Second part is going to be activation and or strengthening, and the last part is going to be stability. So what you're going to need most of the time is going to be a foam roller or anything like that you have at home. So like a soup can or something like that works really well. I also like to use the stick. If you don't have one of these at home, that's fine. You can always use the foam roller instead. No big deal. Or if you can find something like this, or have Amazon deliver it, who knows. The crossball also works really well too. If you don't have something like this, I find a tennis ball works well, a dog chew toy, something like that. Don't use a baseball, that's just too hard, senseless pain, nothing too hard. We're also going to need some sort of band. Hopefully you guys have a band of some sort at home. If you don't, you can order them from Amazon. If not, it's no big deal. We can talk about creating your own resistance with the movement. And then lastly, you guys might not have this nice piece of foam like we have at the PT office at home, but anything that's unstable like a pillow, a couch cushion, something like that, please ask your parents first before you use a nice couch cushion or your bed pillow. And then also, a lot of times a slider comes in handy. Again, if you don't have a slider, no big deal. I have hardwood floors, tile in my house. I can put on socks or get a towel, and I can slide on that hardwood floor. So there's always options, and if you don't have the ability to use the slider, then the modification is just to do without the slider. So if you're doing a squat, you would just do it without the slider. So no big deal. So those are kind of the things that you're going to need generally for most of the videos. And then, because this is for your foot and ankle, just to go over a couple things. Neutral arch, for those of you guys that don't know. Your neutral arch is 3 points. So like the tripod I'm using to make this video, there are 3 points that help to keep it stable. You have the same thing in your foot. So what you want to look for is big toe, and when I say big toe, I mean like the nubby part here, not the end of it. Big toe, heel, and little toe, again, this part here, not the tip of it, should all have even weight. So if I'm here and I let it come here, then my weight goes more towards the inside, the outside lifts up, and vice versa on the opposite side. So we want to try to find that middle point, okay? If you look at my arch, if I come too far in, I flatten out and I lose my arch. If I go too far the other way, I have a lot of arch, but I'm totally not stable. So what we need to do for me to find that middle point is right there. My arch height actually really isn't that bad at all, but I can let it squish. So that's why we want to find that neutral to help maintain that. The other test you can do to see if your ankle mobility is adequate or not is basically get about half a hand's distance from the wall, maybe finger length away from the wall, and your knee should be able to come forward, hit the wall, staying over the middle of your foot, and making sure that that heel doesn't lift up or your weight doesn't distribute off those 3 points unevenly. If you can do that, great. Probably an area of strength for you, not something maybe you need to focus on quite so much, but do it because it's good for maintenance. For those of you like me who have a hard time, obviously this is an area you probably should focus on a little bit more. So again, everyone's going to have their strengths and weaknesses, and that just helps you figure out what you need to focus your time on a little bit more. So I think that's pretty much it for that. So we're going to start with the soft tissue care. So grab your foam roller, your stick, your lacrosse ball. What we're going to do, if you have your foam roller, you can sit on the floor. I'm just going to show you standing so you can see me better. And then you're just going to come up and down that calf muscle. Try to relax your foot so it's not too pointed. You can flex it a little bit. Will actually hurt a little bit more. Make sure you're getting inside and outside. If you're using the ball, which I like better because I think it gets in there a little bit better, it's basically the same thing. So I'll show you this side. Okay, so we're just coming sort of in and out on that. You can do that for about a minute or so. Make sure, like for me, sort of the inside is pretty bad because I let my high arches collapse and those muscles get a little bit mad at me. So focus on where you need it. Another part is usually about right here. It's sort of at the bottom of that calf muscle. You can rock a little side to side. Do whatever you need to do. And the other thing is going to be to get those muscles in the foot or the arch of the foot For a lot of you, the inside of the foot is going to be a problem. We're sort of by the big toe a little bit. So again, as much pressure as you need to make it comfortably uncomfortable, but not so uncomfortable you don't want to do it. Again, we're going to do that for about a minute. And if you have the stick, this is always good to do too. So you can half kneel or lunge on the floor, or you can do it like this up on a chair. You're going to come forward until you feel that first bit of stretch, or your heel's popping out. Make sure the heel isn't up. And you're going to get that stick and work on the flat part. And again, the inside of my calf is the most sore, so I kind of focus there. But make sure you get a little bit of everywhere and figure out where your areas of need are. And then you can do the same thing. I'll switch. Same thing with the leg straight, foot flex to make it a little bit more. This will get that gastroc muscle, which is the muscle that you use when your leg is straight and you come up in releve. So you come all the way up on this one. Again, try to keep that foot flexed if you can. And then while you're there, back nice and straight, and just try to flex your foot up. Flex and relax, flex and relax. Probably feel a really good stretch in that calf. That's just flossing that sciatic nerve through there a little bit. Just help with more mobility in those ankles. All right, so now that we've taken care of the nerve and the soft tissue, we can get rid of this stuff and work on the joint a little bit. So you are going to take the first group of knuckles, you're going to put them underneath your arch, and you're going to take the heel of your hand and just push down on the top of your foot. So trying to maintain that neutral arch, you're going to come forward as far as you can, keeping the heel down, making sure you're over the middle of the foot and you're not coming in or out too much. You may or may not feel a stretch in the back here. If you do, great. If you feel pinch in the front, don't force it. That means that joint's not moving as well as it should, and hopefully the more we do this, the better that will get. Maybe not necessarily today, but the more you do this. I know this is a problem for me, but it gets better. You'll do 10. I have no idea. I think this is 9, maybe 10. If you need to, you can also pull down that heel, keep it from popping up to help you out a little bit. All right, so the next one that we're going to do, you're going to be in the same position. You're going to take the heel of your opposite hand, put it on this bone that sticks out here, and you're just going to push back and then do the same thing 10 times. This is good for you guys like me. I sprained this ankle really bad when I was a gymnast back in the Stone Ages. So this is really good to keep everything where it needs to be. Keep that fibula bone back where it's supposed to be. Again, when you're done with those 10, then what you're going to do is you're going to work on that subtalar joint, which is the joint below your ankle bone, kind of by your heel. Well, sometimes some of you guys feel like it gets kind of a little stuck. You're going to find this sort of nubby part here, and you're going to rotate it inwards as you come forward. Try not to let the weight shift to the ball of your foot and back. Don't do this. You're kind of rotating it. It's not a big rotation, but you should feel maybe a little bit of pulling sort of in that heel. If you don't, that's okay. Again, no pinching in the front though. So if you feel any pinching, just stop at that pinching point. Don't keep forcing it. It'll get better. You can do 10 of those. And then when you're done with those, when you get that subtalar joint a little bit more, so you're going to come forward as far as you can again, neutral arch. And you're going to go a little bit in, a little bit out, a little bit in, a little bit out. So your weight's kind of going to the inside of the foot, outside of the foot, but it's not going past it, okay? Inside of foot, outside of foot. And then lastly, we're going to activate in that new range. So you're going to stay forward. When you come up, you're going to keep those toes down and flex your foot. Make sure you're not flexing it out. And back down. So forward as far as you can, lifting up. Forward as far as you can, lifting up 10 times. And this is just, hopefully we've created some new range in that ankle, and we're just trying to let the brain know that it's there and get the muscle to use it. And one more. And obviously you want to do both sides for this, but we're just going to focus on the one today. All right, so now that we've done all that, we need to activate this a little bit. Oh, sorry, I totally forgot. We didn't do our wall stretch. So you can come over here, foot on the wall. Make sure when you're doing this Your foot's sort of up here a little bit. Your leg is straight ahead, and you're just shifting your weight forward on the front of that foot. Okay, so you feel a stretch in that calf. Make sure that the weight doesn't go to the outside. And then you're unlocking that knee. Same thing on the wall. You should feel a stretch more in your heel when your knee is bent. 30-second hold each. And then that should take care of all that soft tissue. All right, so now that we've taken care of all that, we're gonna work on just activating that muscle in the front for a little bit more of that mobility when we're landing or flexing that foot. If you can hold on to something, and we're just gonna work on lifting that foot up, both of them. When you're doing it, make sure you're not coming out to the side. Just a little bit. So we don't want this, we want straight up. When we come up, don't lift with just your toes. So try to keep your toes down. Now I'm having a hard time doing this without doing a little bit of this because I'm tight. So you can go against the wall to balance, still having a little bit of problem. So back to the wall, and if my heels are against the wall, I can barely lift at all. Come out enough where you can start lifting, where it's not super easy, maybe a little easy for me, and we're gonna lift. So try to keep toes down, big toes, trying to stay together, not letting this happen. So feet stay together as best you can. You're gonna lift for 2, hold for 2, lower on a 4 count. Lift for 2, hold for 2, lower on a 4 count. 10 to 15 there for me. We're gonna do 10 for now. I think that's 5, but anybody who's worked with me knows that my counting is horrible. So, and my shins are really tired. I think we're kind of on fire. This will help with a lot of that pinching you get in the front of your ankles. It'll help with that mobility. It'll also help with shin splint type pain, and hopefully any shin sort of bony pain you get, because this muscle will be working and accepting some of that force, and it won't be sort of pinching right into that bone. See how my toes are starting to cheat a little bit. I'm starting to flop. Alright, good. And then, last but not least, if you have this slider here, what we want to do, I feel like I've been working on my right foot a lot, and that's my worst foot. So the one that we're working on is actually the one we're standing on over here. And what you're trying to do is keep that neutral arch and slide forward as far as you can, keeping that arch. I get a little pinchy here. I can't really go any further, and then I'm going to come back up. Okay? It's okay if you can't go further. It's also okay that the knee comes over the toe. We can't always be back here. I mean, just going down a step, your knee does come forward a little bit, and that's okay. We have to learn how to handle that, and we have to learn how to do it correctly. So that's all we're working on here is that, keeping that heel down. A lot of you might want to sort of shift and let this happen. Keep that heel down, keep that neutral arch. Again, forward as far as you can, hold for 2, and then back on that 4 count. You're going to get a lot of work here too. Make sure you're pushing your hip up, and we're not doing like this sort of thing. Okay? Keep going for me. We're just going to try to do 10 to 15 again. Hopefully we're getting a little better each time. Again, no pain in the front of that ankle. And I can tell I'm definitely getting further as I go. And again, you definitely should do both sides. I don't know why anyone wouldn't have enough time these days, but if you don't, focus on maybe a side that you injured or a side you know is more of a problem. Mine is my right. No idea how many I did anymore. I'm going to do one more. Good. Alright, so hopefully everyone's ankles should feel nice and mobile. Maybe a little bit tired. Alright, so we're going to work into the strengthening part of it. So, this is when you're going to grab your band. I think most of you guys are going to be pretty familiar with these. Just your general ankle strengthening. So, I'll probably run through this pretty quickly. If you have a friend to help you with this, or a sibling or something, that's great. If not, you can tie your band to a door, get creative. It's pretty easy. So first we're going to work on that flexing, just because that's what we've been working on a ton. We're always pointed and up on our toes, so we really have to make sure we get the opposite direction. My band's not attached to anything but toes stay down, and then what you're going to do is pull up, hold for kind of 2, lower kind of 3, let the toes relax. Do not let the tension come off the band. You will always want to keep a little bit of tension on that band. Time under tension is going to develop strength. It's going to keep that muscle awake. So you're going to do whatever resistance you need to do 3 sets of 8 to 12, and you're pretty tired after the first set. You shouldn't be able to do 30, 40, or 50 all at once. You're not doing yourself as much of a service as you should be if that's the case. If this is a little hard with your knee all the way straight, just kind of do what I'm doing because my calves are tight, and just let this sort of be gently bent and relaxed as you come up. Otherwise, try to keep it straight if you can. Okay? The next one you're going to do is pulling inward. Okay? So, you just have the band around here, on your foot. Try to keep the toes relaxed. We're pulling inwards. Okay, try not to point actively, we're just kind of relaxed here. Same thing. Okay, 3 sets of 8 to 12, don't let the tension come off the band. If you have any pain with this on the outside, fresh ankle sprain, something like this might not be something to do for a fresh ankle sprain, or you might need to limit your range of motion a little bit. Okay, then we're going to go pulling out. Again, same thing. Try to get that full range unless we have any pain. And stay in sort of a limited range. My toes keep wanting to, help and whatnot. So try to keep your toes relaxed as best you can. And then lastly, you're going to work on pushing down. This one gets kind of hard with the band, so if whatever band you have isn't working, that's fine. But when you push down, I want your toes to be up. And again, when you push down, not too far in or too far out, you should be really close to the center. Pay attention. You're going to do this with the leg straight for 3 sets. I also want you to unlock it and bend it and work that soleus muscle as well. The soleus muscle is really important when you're landing because your knee's bent, I hope, when you land, and that's what part of your calf muscle helps to accept that force when you do those landings. So very, very important. Okay, you can always pause it here to finish your sets, but I'm going to move on. Next, I think we have, yes, some piano toes. Let me get up here. I think it might be easier to see. Okay, so neutral arch. Again, we don't want to be anywhere here. Find that neutral arch. Piano toes, for those that don't know, you start with just the big toe, neutral arch, and you try to lift just the big toe. I'm not doing too bad. If you have a problem with that, you can sit or you can stand while you do it and just hold your toes. Sitting is easier, okay? 30 times or 30 seconds. You should be able to do 30 in 30 seconds when you're good. So count to 30. Then you do the same thing with your little toes. Now if you notice, my left one's kind of dumb. And if I try to do it on my right one, I start to collapse in a little bit. So pay attention. Do them correctly. A lot of these aren't conditioning hard, they're brain hard. And that's okay. You want this to stop being brain hard and then we can make them more conditioning hard. Okay? There you go. If this stuff is too easy, then you do it standing on one foot. Just your big toe. See if I can do it. This is a soft surface, so it's hard. And then just your little toes. And then lastly, you're going to do arch builders. So what you're going to do is 30, just lifting that arch. Okay? What I'm not doing is this. Okay? And this part stays down. And then what we're doing is lifting up and relaxing. Do not relax all the way. Try to keep a little bit of tension. Again, too hard, sit and do this. Too easy, go to single leg and do it. These are really hard to do single leg. And again, I want a softer surface, which makes it harder. So try to do a firmer surface, at least to start, and then when it gets too easy, you go softer. 30 of those as well. All right. While you guys are finishing those up, we are going to work on some toe scoops. Alright guys, so, toe scoops. We're going to start regular straight toe scoops, okay? So, point with these, neutral arch, toes pull forward. What's going to start to happen for most of you, you're going to start doing this because gymnasts like to be turned out, you like to be turned out. Okay, so I want you to really focus on staying straight and keeping those 3 points even. Yes, you will come up off the ball of your toes, but you're not shifting your weight in or out, okay? And you're going to feel the ball of your foot. Okay, I'm even starting to spread apart and start to do this a little bit. Okay, you should be able to do these for a minute. We're not gonna do the full minute here. Again, pause the video and do it. The next one, you're gonna go in. This is the tough one because we're not used to being here, but we actually need this internal rotation motion to do a lot of things, even though we are out here a lot. But it's good to make sure we're working that full range. And this will work a little bit more the inside of the arch. As you pull forward, you're keeping those big toes together. Try to stand up tall, try not to do this. Okay, so these are hard for me. My hips kind of sit more externally rotated, so I'm trying to compensate by doing different things. So try to stay tall. You know, everybody's anatomy is a little bit different. Everybody's body is a little bit different. So again, everyone has different strengths and weaknesses and things to work on. So no big deal. All right, my feet are getting tight. Last is the out. Now the out won't feel as hard, but you're gonna have a tendency to kind of keep going out, or your heels are gonna start driving apart like this. I really want you to think of a small piece of pie or pizza, and keep that slice the same the entire time. Do not let it change, and do not let that arch flatten out. It's gonna be easy for it to do this. Okay? All right, so again, pause the video, do your minute if you need to. If you need to do longer than that, do longer than that. All right, the last thing we're gonna do is working on some strengthening of the calf, and again, the front of the shin a little bit. You can do these off a step. You can do them on the wall. You can do them leaning forward. I caution you on these steps, okay? If you're on the step and we're coming up and then you're coming down and you're seeing this knee kind of roll in, let's see if I can make that happen. All right, so if you're coming down on that step and you're seeing this kind of thing happen, and I'm really exaggerating, but pay attention, guys, because we don't want this. You're basically doing this, and your Achilles is just doing this every single time, and you're pulling. It's not gonna like that after a while, okay? Plus, it's teaching bad habits, okay? We don't wanna be here all the time. So if you're going off a step, I need you to pay attention. You're staying within the range you can control appropriately before you're coming back up. And I'm having one foot down just because I can't balance on this thing, but you get the idea. So don't feel like you have to jump to the step, okay? You can start on the floor. The other thing you can do is to just sort of lean forward on the wall this way, but I'm just gonna show you from the side. So you would just be kind of leaned forward. So I'm gonna go, okay, that's where my heel starts coming up, so I'm gonna come off it just a little bit, and now I can do them where I'm going through a range I can control. It's my full range, and I can control it a little bit better. So again, you would be here. Okay? So obviously, if you want to get some strength out of this, doing 2 feet at a time might be enough for you. We want to keep tension the whole time when we're up and releve. We want to make sure we're not doing this kind of stuff. Okay, none of that. Weight stays on that big toe. Try to keep heels squeezing together the whole time. Inner thighs, we kind of feel everything come together. Always abs tight, abs, inner thighs, pull it up, okay? 2 feet, too easy, do single. Too easy, do them leaning. Too easy, do them off the step, but do them correctly. Weights are an option. If you have them, grab whatever you have at home. They can add a little bit of weight for you. If you can add some weight, your 3 sets of 8 to 12. If you don't have a lot of weight, work a little bit more endurance and always on form, and work up to more 15 to 20s. So we're gonna start with just straight ones. So all the way up, all the way down, nice and controlled. I don't want this throwing yourself up. So it's up on 2, pull it on 2, down on 3. Don't lose the tension at the bottom, okay? You'll be doing 3 sets of these. Okay, if I do these correctly, these actually get pretty hard for me with no weight, but I'm an old, out of shape gymnast, so maybe for you guys not so much. Okay, now you're gonna do the same thing, coming inside. Now, when you do the inside, make sure, again, that we're not up here, so keep that weight on the big toe also. And controlled. Everything is controlled. If you control it and you don't throw everything around, you'll notice a lot difference. Okay, and this is where you can create your own tension, where you can create your own resistance. So So think about really pulling yourself up against weight, little pause, and pushing yourself down through some thick mud or something like that. Okay? Keeping that tension. No throwing up into it. No throwing up here. All right, and the last one is the out. So when we do out, small piece of pie, heels stay together. If we're going to do single leg, we'll just kind of use this here. Okay. Making sure, again, we're not out more towards here. We're keeping that weight on the big toe as well. Creating your resistance if you need to. Keeping tension the entire time. This could also be a little bit of a balance exercise, but I don't want it to be so much of a balance exercise you're not getting any strength out of it. So hold a wall or something, whatever you need to. Okay. I notice I get to have to sort of throw my foot up there, so I gotta tell myself to stop doing that. Belly is tight, butt is engaged. You're always, do not let that hip drop, always up. When you're on one leg, that glute's gonna wanna kind of get dumb or lazy. Okay, so again, 3 sets of 8 to 12 if you've got some resistance, 3 sets of 15 to 20 if you don't. All right, I think that covers pretty much everything. The last thing that we are going to do is some stability work. We're going to work on static stability, which is pretty much just you standing on your leg. We're going to work on a little bit more dynamic, where we're maybe jumping, things like that. So a little bit of everything. Important to remember the neutral arch with these, okay? We're going to start pretty basic, and the more videos we do, the more things that we'll do. So to start, single leg balance in neutral. Let me pull this over. All right. You can always use something like this if these are too easy. Sorry, my phone just went in a little power mode. Okay, single leg balance, neutral arch. Okay, arms are crossed here. Make sure your hip's not dropping. You should be able to do this for a minute. Okay, too easy, close your eyes. Too easy, soft surface. Okay, we can also, again, important to keep your neutral arch. So if you can't do that, then you don't move on. We can also add writing the alphabet. We can also add rotating side to side, but I'm not rotating everything. You're rotating your upper body over top. Okay, or you can add in some ball tossers. Keep your neutral arch. Do not let your hip drop. Okay, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to do it in releve. So you should be able to hold in releve. Okay, 1 minute. Obviously a little hard for me. I want a softer surface. Keep the weight even on big and little toe. Belly tight, butt tight. Okay. You should also be able to do foot hanging off the edge. I'm going to put my other foot behind me so this doesn't fall. But foot hanging off the edge of a step or something and holding that up there. Okay. For a minute. Try not to let funny things happen. You should be able to balance there for a minute. Make sure we don't ever lock the knee out. It's always softly bent. So you're using your muscles and not hanging out in the joint. Okay? Let's see. Next one you should be able to do is you're off the edge of your step or something soft, and your half of your foot is off, and you're maintaining that arch. Again, you're going to be standing on one foot. I can't do this, or this will flop over. Okay? 1 minute. And then you're going to do the same thing with the other part. Okay? So you're here, and now you're lifting up, trying to be neutral. I can't do this on here, but hopefully you get the idea. So we're lifting up. If not, you can always message me and holding. And then last but not least, holding for a minute. Knee is bent. Heel should not dip below, should not be above. It should be right here. Knee is bent, and you're going to balance. Again, this block will fall if I lift off my front foot, but you would lift off your front foot. And you're just going to balance, keeping the arch neutral and the weight even on the side to side. 1 minute. Okay. Almost done. When you're done with all of your minute holds in your proper form, what you're going to do is just work on keeping that form, single leg deadlift. Nice and control. You're going to reach across your body, and you're going to come back up, and you're going to balance, and you're going to reach across your body, and try to balance. Belly and butt is tight. You should feel this in your butt too. If you're doing this right, your foot should start to burn. Left and right is 1. You're going to do 15 to 20 controlled neutral arch each side. be able to do that. When you're done with those on each side, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to reach across. You're going to jump forward. And hopefully you don't fall over like I did. You're going to reach across, jump backwards, balance, reach across, jump side, balance, reach across, jump to the other side, and balance. Okay? That is one. You're going to do 5 on each side. And then last but not least, we're just going to jump half turn. Hopefully your balance is better than mine. And then jump back the way you came. That is my bad right ankle. Okay? Back and forth is 1. You're going to do 5 and switch. Whew. Belly and butt tight when you land. My feet are tired. All right, guys, when you're done with that, I think my phone's going to die. This has been fun. Roll out again and stretch. Stretch the calf on the wall. Roll out your calf and your arch again, just for a little nicey nice to your foot and ankle at the end of this. And again, compression sleeves, ice baths, all that stuff's great for recovery. Hope this was good. Hopefully they'll get better. Give me your feedback. Miss everybody. Hope to see everybody soon. Okay, thanks guys.